So once again, why don't we just open the meeting at 4:03? My name is Michelle Keith. I'm on the Board of Health. So we'll start with the first appointment. I see that Ms. Short is here, I think.
We will,
Yes,
Chair,
I'm here.
we will need a roll call vote to open.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chris. So Michelle Keith, yes, present. Emily, Michelle, are you present? I thought I saw her here. She was here. Well, Dr. Pope, are you present?
This is Chris. I did
Yeah.
see Emily Michelle, and then I heard a tone that indicated someone left. So I'm wondering if maybe she had a connection issue and
She'll be right
is
back
not.
in.
And I'm looking at the participants right now, and I do not see her name.
Do we know who iPhone is?
So she got kicked out for some reason, so she's trying to get back in.
Okay. Hi, Emily Michelle. We see that you're here. We're taking the roll call vote. Are you present?
Emily Michelle Olmsted is present.
Yes, that's fantastic. Now we can open the
Sorry.
meeting at 4:04. Fantastic. Great progress. So, is it okay, Chris, if we start with the 4 o'clock appointment with Mackenzie Short?
Yes, but the only thing I would just like to note is that, with people muted and at least one participant labeled just as iPhone, and Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone wants to speak, these are hearings, they would need to raise their hand to be recognized.
I believe most people can unmute, but I can then mute anybody. So once they unmute, they can talk, but then I can unmute them. And if the chair, and we can change the settings if it becomes an issue where I have to unmute every single person. I think right now they can unmute themselves.
Okay.
Okay, so
anyone wanting to share a screen would need your permission?
Correct.
Okay.
Other than people I co-host, if I make you guys co-host, all you have to do is just let me know, and I'll allow them to share a screen. So just let me know. No problem.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay, so we just did the roll call. Michelle Keith is present. Emily Michelle Olmsted is present, and I'm not sure if the iPhone is Dr. Pope or not. But we can proceed. Chris, is that okay with the first appointment?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Short, are you here? Yeah?
Yes.
Chris, do you want to talk, or would you like Ms. Short to talk?
I can start out. So,
Okay.
the board will need to act on this permit today, application. The board can, as always, the board can take any number of actions, which would be approve, to deny, or to table. Ms. Short, after our inspections, did, at the close of last week, submit a revised inventory of animals that she would like to keep, which is different than this amendment. It's for a higher number of animals. And because of that, the board cannot amend the request to include more. So my recommendation at this time would be to table the permit application until our next meeting. And if a new application is submitted with those animals on there, then we could put that on duly, and that, the board could act on this permit amendment and then the other permit amendment at that time. But that's my recommendation to the board. We would get into more discussion on the revised permit with conditions. But at this point in time, my recommendation is to table.
Chris, I just have a question. Has the inspector been able to go over there and talk with Ms. Short about what needs to be done for this additional number of animals? Have they had a chance to talk?
Yes, we've spoken with her, and I've been to the property myself a couple times.
Okay. Okie dokie. Emily Michelle, do you have any particular opinion on this?
Just a quick question. So if I understand, the permit that we have in our packet here does not indicate the correct number of animals right now. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct. When we issue a permit, it's not for the number of animals on the property at this point in time. It's for the maximum number of any one type of animal that will exist in the year. So, for example, if I want to have at one point in time up to 35 goats, then even though I only have 15 now, I need to have a permit for 35.
Got it. Okay, but in the one, I'm phrasing the condition or the finding in my head. It's because the permit in front of us does not currently reflect the accurate number of animals that the applicant would like.
Correct.
Okay.
And rather
Okay.
than it being, just a strict denial at this point in time, I would, it might be better if, she does submit that revised application and then we could act on both. Our regs do not
agree.
have an ability our regs do not have an ability to withdraw. So it's something
Okay.
that we should look at in the
Okay. So is it possible to get a motion to table the current permit?
Yes, so finding that
Okay.
the current permit for 27 Pine Island Road does not currently reflect the accurate number of animals sought, I move to table.
And I second. And Michelle Keith votes yes. Emily, Michelle, what's your
Yes.
vote? Yes. Okay, fantastic. I'm sorry we couldn't act on that today, but I think this makes the most common sense.
Right.
Ms. Short, did you have any questions? Okay, good.
I may have one, so the revision was to add more rabbits, but right now we're kind of having issues with breeding them, and we may just either get out of them altogether and just keep one as a pet, which is most likely what we're gonna do. So I may actually not want to amend that. I don't know if that'll make a difference right now.
Chris?
Yeah, so I think maybe in the meantime, it's just kind of best to kind of just figure out what, there's a lot of fluidity to this application. And once a permit is issued, the inventory needs to represent the maximum number. So, maybe over the next few days, or even, even a few days into next week, but we would need, a revised application by no later than Wednesday of next week.
Right.
So Ms. Short, I from what I'm understanding from what Chris is saying is that you can amend this for a larger amount, but you don't have to have that large amount on the property. You'll just be covered for the year. My goodness, even if you had 2 rabbits, the number of rabbits could could increase very quickly. So it seems like it makes sense to be able to say, okay, the maximum rabbits that we're going to have are 35. And if you choose not to have any rabbits, that's fine. Chris, am I understanding this properly? But then if you do end up having up to 35, you're A-okay within the regulations.
Right.
Chris, this doesn't mean that she has to have 35 rabbits on the property. It just means that she cannot exceed 35 rabbits. True? Am I understanding this correctly?
That is correct. The property does, need to be able to accommodate the number, but if it can, then you don't have to have it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think in the end, we may just not want to go through the hassle of revising it again. Because if we get out of rabbits now, it's probably going to be at least until the next year where we're going to have to renew it anyways.
Okay.
So I think I'd like to just keep the number the same. If anything, we'll just have 1 for a pet, which the 5 on the permit will cover that.
Now, are all of the other numbers the same?
Yes, yes,
So it was truly just the rabbits that was going to change?
correct.
Okay. Chris, can we, so you'd prefer for us to vote on this today, Ms. Short?
I mean, it doesn't need to vote. As far as I remember, last time Chris came to the property, I think he was going to recommend it be tabled anyways. Just because we were in the process of dealing with moving like the compost and everything. I don't remember if he's visited since we've made even more progress. I don't think he has.
I had asked originally, had you guys touched base, because I knew that there were some things sort of, in movement.
Right.
Chris, do you still have to go out there and check everything out?
Yes, and then the thing is,
Okay.
if the board approves this permit without the rabbits, then those rabbits have to be gone, or otherwise we're in a violation. So
Okay.
that's why
Right.
it's,
Oh,
you know, we've got a little bit of time to kind of sort things out.
Okay,
You know, I think that it's best.
Yeah, so the permit itself is for 5 total, and I actually right now we're gonna get rid of 3, but we have 4 currently. So regardless, I don't think we'd be in any sort of violation regarding that.
Chris,
If
if
any
they
of
have
them,
one,
you know, like I said,
Good.
if there's any of them that are, you know, because like if you got rid of the pregnant doe, then that might not be an issue. But if the pregnant doe is to remain, then, you know, once she litters out, then, you know, we just try to
Right.
keep, yeah, like I said, I think, you know, tabling is the best thing, and the board did vote.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are interested to go back out there, but, you know, the weather hasn't been exactly cooperative.
and our next meeting is what, February 6th or 7th?
6.
The 6th? Okay, so 6, would you think that by the 6th you'd be able to be out there and resolve all of this so then we can go forward? Yeah?
Yeah, the weather forecast does look favorable, short of a blizzard coming in. Yeah, and then
Well,
just
with New England,
for the
you know.
intended inventory for 24, excuse me.
Ms. Short, would you be able to make a meeting on February 6th?
Yes.
7th. All right, I misspoke. 7th. My
7th, okay.
apologies.
Is that the what Tuesday or a Wednesday? I just need to make
I think
arrangements with
the
my work.
7th is a Thursday. I don't have my calendar in front of me because I'm
It's a Wednesday
working on-
evening.
Let me see. Is it
Wednesday?
Wednesday? Wait, let me go right to my calendar. Okay, yep. So that 7th is, yep, it's a Wednesday evening. And it would be what, 4 p.m. typically?
This one's bumped to 6 because it's a
Later.
Wednesday.
That's gonna be at 6.
Oh, 6.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So
That,
6 p.m.
Yeah, that would work well for me.
Okay, good. So hopefully we can get everything all resolved and, you know, have everything all finalized at that meeting, you know?
Okay. I just also had a question of if you
Yeah.
wanted to address, because my last permit has 1 rooster and I'm doing the trying to get it up to 5. I wasn't sure if you guys would discuss that now or once we visit it again.
I think in the interest of time, it probably makes sense because we've officially voted to table. And because
Okay.
I like to kind of keep things, just have everything in front of me. I would say we discuss that at the next meeting so that way we can consider the whole site, if that's all right.
But also
Yeah,
it
of
gives
course.
Ms. Short, it gives Chris a chance to go out there and make sure that everything is all set up for 5 roosters.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it, you know, we have to wait to hear from him, you know, on whether or not he thinks that everything is adequately set up.
Right.
So we've got to wait for that anyway. So we
Okay.
really can't discuss it until he's been over there. So, but when we have the discussion, we will have it 100% in front of you. So
Okay.
no worries.
Yeah, of course.
So thank you so much for your time and patience. And so far, so good. The meeting is going on, and that's a very good thing. Take
Thank you
care
as
now.
well.
Thank you. Okay. So now let's see here. At 4:05, we had Double S Farms LLC, 451 Highland Avenue, for a renewal of a piggery application. Chris, did you want to speak on this?
Sure, thank you. So an inspection was conducted out there within the last, I'd say, month or so. It's hard to, you know, keep track of time, but, you know, definitely myself and Sandra Goslin, the board's animal health inspector, animal control, rabies agent, was out there. We do not have, this is a renewal. So as our local regs work, all of the standard conditions that have been put on all of the permits in 2023 by the prior board, and this board has done for other renewals for 2024, we do not have to read those in. However, because this permit had a requirement to install a fence by a certain date, that was a unique condition, so that the only thing I would ask this board is to consider a condition to include, to maintain the permanent fence to exclude the pigs from the pond and overflow ditch, and to maintain a vegetated buffer within the fence, and the buffer between the fence and ditch shall be no less than 20 feet on either side. The purpose of this is to filter any of the agricultural runoff into this ditch that eventually, runs down gradient, into some sort of, probably either wetland or isolated land subject to flooding of some type.
Makes sense.
Now, is somebody here from the property?
Yes.
Okay, did you have any questions?
No, we can fence out the pond and the overflow and maintain that 20-foot buffer on each side with a fence that's there. We can do that, no problem.
Okie dokie. So Chris, if they do that, you're all set with this? And we don't need to read those extensive conditions in?
No,
The-
it would
no,
just be, to have that one condition kind of reworded because there was a time frame put on it last year, and this would just be to maintain it. On the outside chance, pigs are all muscle, so if a pig decides it wants to get through something, it can wreak havoc on a lot of things. So this is
So-
just to require the maintenance of that fence.
Chris, could you repeat the exact words that we need to put into the record, and then we can have that be a finding that, what I'm saying, those
I-
specific words that you need?
I think we have it in our packet, I believe. Is
Yeah.
that
We
correct?
do, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
What
We
I
do.
have in front of me,
Mhm.
I don't
It's a couple
see that.
pages down, page 9. I had to, I go a little
Okay.
bit further. Mhm.
Let me see here. I'm looking.
It would be
No,
a
I don't-
document, it'd be a PDF piggery permit application to renew.
Yeah,
And
I
If
am
it
not
helps,
seeing
Michelle,
it.
I
but it-
have it. I'm comfortable if the time comes, when it comes to making the motion to
Okay,
read that
so-
as it's written.
So would you mind making a motion and?
No, I
and
don't
reading that
mind,
into
and
the- Great, with as a
Absolutely,
finding?
just
Okay,
real
thanks.
quick logistically, Chris, as long as we just say that we would amend condition 8, the other ones, because they're already part of the general requirements, don't need to be referenced at all.
yeah, the other do not need to be,
Okay, great.
just condition 8, the board so feels.
Great. So then, finding that there are no concerns with this property, I move to approve the piggery application for 451 Highland Avenue with the amendment to condition 8 as follows. Maintain the permanent fence to exclude pigs from pond and overflow ditch, and to maintain a vegetated buffer inside of the fenced area to filter runoff. The buffer between the fence and ditch shall be no less than 20 feet on either side of the ditch.
Okay, I second that motion and I vote yes. And Emily Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I definitely don't have that in my packet that I have open here. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's see here. Going back to the top here to my beginning of the agenda. We have a 410 appointment with Jeff Kinder, 30 Allen's Neck Road for a new piggery application. Chris, did you want to address this?
Yes, so Mr. Kinder has had a permit under a different name, somewhat like as a farm name, but next door to 30 Allen's Neck Road. He's had a permit with us, I think, the longest. Maybe Copacut might have another year or two on him. This is a very large property. The pigs are kept in very flat pasture land, and we haven't had any concerns with his operation when it was at 92, and this is all, while it seems like it's a new permit, it's for a new location. So this would be a new permit, and unfortunately, because it's a new permit, if the board wants to remain equitable with conditions, then the board would need to move those conditions, items 1 through 7, and read them into the motion. And that's all.
I didn't see anything concerning about this one. Would you agree, Chris, as far as the application goes? It's pretty acceptable.
Yeah, I don't have any concerns. And Mr. Kinder is with us. I do see him.
He's here. That's what I wanted to ask if he had any comments or concerns or questions to ask.
I do not.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you.
I've been searching for, I just went onto the town. I still don't have the same document that you have, Emily, Michelle. Would you be able to read that,
Yeah,
those conditions?
absolutely,
Thank you.
for sure. Where are we? There's no other further discussion we need.
Yes.
Okay,
A motion to go forward with approving this piggery application with the conditions that Chris wanted read into the record.
sounds great. So finding that there are no concerns, I move to approve the piggery application for 30 Allen's Neck Road with the following standard conditions. One, that no feeding of sensitive feed directly is upon the soil. That sensitive feed shall only be fed in feeders that are easily cleanable. That any sensitive feed trough, container, or other feeding device must be of design to keep feed off the ground and prevent swine from entering the feeder except with their head and neck. That any sensitive feeder shall be placed upon a durable concrete pad that must surround the feeder by a minimum of 6 feet on all sides. The pad shall be pitched so rainwater does not collect upon the concrete pad. That no plastics, food containers, or other solid waste shall be deposited within or exist within a piggery enclosure. That fresh water for swine shall be available in designed waters or other device that allows for access for drinking and prevent the animal from entering except with its head and neck, and that the issuance of a piggery permit is upon agreement to access by the Board of Health and their agents, and shall include all areas associated with the piggery, including but not limited to feed storage areas, pig enclosures, barns, manure storage areas, manure composting areas, and areas where manure has been spread upon the land.
Okay. I will vote to yes on that motion. Emily, Michelle, what's your
I
vote?
think you have to second it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second the motion, then I vote yes. Emily,
Emily
Michelle,
Michelle Olmsted votes yes.
thank you. Okay, so we can move on. Thank you so much, Mr. Kinder. Good luck.
Can I ask a quick question?
Okay. Go ahead.
Um, where can I find those? That stuff that you just read?
You know, it's on the, I've just been going through, it's on last month's.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
So that will be printed upon the permit, and he will get a copy of that in the mail within the next, week. Or
Okay,
email.
okay, I was just looking at the renewal and I couldn't find it, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care now. Okey doke. So let's see here. I've got 415 WED Incorporated, Plat 89, Lot 21 at 29 Little River Road, a waiver for 310 CMR 15 and Dartmouth supplemental regulations. Chris, did you want to address this?
Sure, thank you. So these waivers that are being requested are kind of customary to this neighborhood. I've done quite a few perks all around here, and unless you hit like a 6-week window, you're not going to get a perk test. So you're going to have to rely on the sieve analysis policy and waiver. And the location of this being close to the wetland, sometimes, plans, it's hard to represent, the limitations of a property. I've looked at this site, to try to put it into the front yard and really try to squeeze it in between the property line and the driveway, or the property line and front yard property line. We would be looking at retaining walls, water line issues, and I really don't, and then also grading issues back to the house. So the location of it, where it sits, while there's ample room, at least on paper, it really isn't usable room, considering that even in the front yard, we'll be dealing with a raised system. So I don't have any concerns about these waiver requests. So if the board has any questions for the designer, Mr. Potter is here.
Emily, Michelle, do you have any questions?
I think I know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. you're asking for, you know, a waiver to the buffer zone for the wetlands. So what have you done to compensate for that? Are you muted? You might be muted. Am I muted?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I just put the system in the best possible place that I can and
Mhm.
kept it as far away from wetlands as I can.
Okay.
And as Chris says, grading issues are a problem here. We have a very high water table. So essentially, we've just done the best I can with what I have, and it's not much.
Mhm.
Can I answer your question?
You also put the barrier, the PVC barrier in there as well.
Yes, correct. Correct.
And Michelle, just so you know, I did request from Chris and his staff a copy of the sieve analysis, which looked pretty standard to me. So that was really the only question I had.
Fantastic. Okay, can we get a motion to proceed with this?
Yes. So finding that the applicant or the engineer has provided acceptable sieve analysis and that the system is to be located in the best possible location given the major constraints of the lot, I move to approve the plan for plot 89, lot 21 at 29 Little River Road.
That's fantastic. I second that motion and vote yes. Emily, Michelle, what is your vote?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Motion passed. Thank you so much. Good luck
Okay.
with everything.
Okay,
Do you have
thank
any other
you. Thank you much.
questions?
I have no questions, no.
Okay, good. Awesome.
Thank you much. Yeah.
Thank you. So now we're moving on to new business and we've got part A, which is the 2023 Annual Board of Health Report.
So
Chris?
I
Okay,
I
good.
did forward the report to the board members with the agenda so that you would all have an opportunity to take a look at it and provide any comments. I know I did hear from one member with some recommendations. While that's not in in what you have, I have included that into what I have right now as the final, pending any comments by the board at this time. It does have a January 31st deadline to be submitted to the town clerk.
I think, Chris, the only question I thought of, and I apologize, I thought of it recently. I know that there was, obviously some trouble last year, with making sure that your staff had a car to go and sample, especially with the combined sewer overflows. Is there any concern about the loss of that car, or any reason to mention that in this report? I certainly trust your professional judgment.
So yeah, I did not include that, and town meeting did approve it, and it's because the town is the select board office is the owner of town property. The town does make the procurement does lie within that office, so they are working with this conventional municipal vehicle supplier. So we're just kind of in a long line of people waiting through queue. So I didn't put that.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So Chris, do you need a vote on this?
We don't need an actual vote.
Okay.
Unless, it would just be a consensus, but it does not require a vote. I just wanted
so
to put
we
it
don't
here.
need to take a vote. If we don't need to take a vote, we can just move to the next one. I think that you've done a fabulous job and all of the board members have had an opportunity to talk with you, which is good at this point. So, if it's okay with you, we can move to the next matter.
Well done.
Okay, number B, Health and Sanitary Inspector vacant position. The recommendation to appoint Ali Amaral.
So I can speak. It's okay?
Yeah.
So the town charter does provide for the hiring, and it's kind of unique because with certain departments where inspectors reside, those departments, hire people within the DTA directly. Because of the way the charter is formulated at this point in time, if there is an autonomous board, such as the Board of Health, Planning Board, maybe not Planning Board, because there's some charter provisions in there. It might only be the Board of Health. Those inspectors are statutorily hired by the board, but because of the charter and the DTA for parity within hiring practices, I make the recommendation to the board, and I can give you a little bit of a background. So the position has been posted since 2021. And, initially there wasn't a lot of applicants. We did get some, but there was a lot of applicants that were just, typical online posting. We've had a couple people intern with us that we were, interested, in seeing what they had to offer. And Miss Amaral has interned with us since September of this year. She's worked on several projects. She does have a degree in biology from, I forget the name of the university in Maine. So it's my recommendation to the board that we fill the position with Miss Amaral.
Emily Michelle, do you have any questions?
No, I always find it encouraging when you get to almost, try someone out beforehand, if you will. So, you can, both the person working the job and the rest of the staff can really get to know them. So the fact that she's been with you since September and this is your recommendation, I absolutely trust you.
I feel the same way. And so could we have a motion to
Do we,
hire
is it, yeah, I was gonna say,
somehow?
do we move to hire? Is that the right verb?
or to appoint?
To appoint as health and sanitary inspector.
Got it. Okay. So then, finding that we have a recommendation of the Dartmouth Health Director and, a good amount of experience in working with this person, I move to appoint
Ally
Allie
Amaral.
Amaral, thank you,
Yeah,
as
no problem.
the Health and Sanitary Inspector for Dartmouth.
I second and vote yes. Emily Michelle, what is your vote?
Yes.
Fantastic. Motion passes. Congratulations. Great. So now we go on to part C, which is the minutes of December 12th, 2023. Did you have any concerns with the minutes, Emily Michelle?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't either. So could we have a motion to accept those minutes?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes as written for Tuesday, December 12th, 2023.
I second and vote yes. Emily Michelle?
Yes.
Your vote? Yes, fantastic. Motion passed. Part D, betterment release for 3 Alden, is it Alder Court or Alden Court? Alder? Chris, A-L-D-E-R?
ALDER, like the tree.
Okay, it is Alder Court. Did you want to update us on this?
So this is just, we don't see many of these, but we know the town does participate in the betterment, which I don't think you've had any yet. Whereas someone will look to either tie into sewer or repair their septic system. So what happens is that the town can lend them the money. It gets paid back through taxes, through their tax bill over up to 20 years.
Good.
And at this point in time, the person has paid it all off
Fantastic.
Oh,
for a release.
Okay. Can we get a
Well, what-
motion to,
well, wait, I'm just, now I'm curious. Why would we not release it? Is it just a formality?
That is correct, because
Got it.
it's a formality. So you'll have to come in and sign the release, and the homeowner will take that to the registry. That'll get recorded at the registry of deeds.
Got it. Okay.
In the title.
so
which-
Chris, do you need a vote on this?
Yes, we would.
Okay. Okay, good. So could we get a motion to approve the betterment release for 3 Alder Court?
Yeah, finding that I guess it's all paid off, I move to release the betterment for 3 Alder Court.
I second the motion and vote yes. Michelle, Emily Michelle, what is your vote?
Yes.
Fantastic. So now we move to E. Discuss next Board of Health meetings. We talked earlier that the next one is going to be February 7th. which is a Wednesday at 6 p.m. I will be out of state, so I'll be coming in again through my telephone. And then I don't think we've set a date for March.
So
think so.
we do not have a date for March. With a meeting so close to the 6th, it would be beneficial if we could get a meeting lined up for that, first week in March. I think the elections are either the 2nd or the following week in April. So we might have to juggle and have 2 meetings in March, but, keeping that 30-day because of some of our approvals that would run to a default approval. At this point in time, I'm going to recommend a meeting on March 6th.
That's a Wednesday
Pulling
again.
up my calendar.
Are you talking earlier in the day at 4 or later in the day? Because 6 p.m. on Wednesday night is really a horrible time for me. I will do it, but I can't continue to do that every month.
We could do it on the 4th, 5th, 6th. I would hate to go past the 6th because we're really running out the clock on the 30-day.
Could we try on Tuesday, the 5th at 4?
Yeah, Tuesday the 5th at 4 works for me very well. That was sort of what we were doing.
Okay.
Tuesday the 5th at 4.
Mhm.
That's fine with me.
Great. I'll put it in my calendar.
Just a little bit of a side on this matter of the Board of Health meeting. So, at this point in time, we do not know of anyone. Dr. Pope is not running for re-election. So we do not know of anyone having pulled papers yet to run for this seat.
No.
So, and it's not just our board. I know of another board. Someone told me about today the same thing. So,
When do papers need to be pulled by, Chris?
I believe it's February 3rd.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it doesn't mean that it would stop, it doesn't mean, an absence of a person pulling papers, because there's always the write-in potential. I would hope that someone pulls papers, for this important, functionality of the town.
Does
So,
Dr. Pope know any other physicians that would be interested in doing this? I mean, it would be wonderful to have another physician.
yeah, I don't know. I can reach out to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important with everything that's gone on to have a physician on the Board of Health. It truly is.
Yeah, I agree. I just almost wonder if, with, a lot of, people retiring and whatnot and just everything that's happened post 2020, I'll
And
reach out to him.
people might be thinking he's going to stay. So if he could potentially recommend some folks, I mean, I have no problem making phone calls and asking people to run. And perhaps he might have some folks in mind that would be willing to run, but they just don't know that he's not running. People would not necessarily go and oppose him if he was running.
Okay.
And what's if it turns out that no one pulls papers, it turns into an appointment?
So what would happen
No.
if nobody pulls papers, then there's always the write-in potential leading into.
Okay.
If no one does a write-in,
Yeah.
then what would happen is, the select board and the Board of Health could do an all call out to the public, I believe. Because this is how if a member resigns before the termination of their term, the end of their term, then what would happen is that it would go to a joint vote of the remaining Board of Health and Select Board for a fill-in position. That person would then run the following year, and then they would have to then run to fill out the rest of their term. So if it went that way, then it would be an appointment following the election. If someone puts their name in, or final candidate is selected with the majority vote of the two boards, then they would run again in April, run again for the seat in April, and then they would have to run again 2 years later to fill, or what?
Got it.
2 years later. We'll see.
Okie dokie. Okay. And they will have to go into the town hall to pull the papers. There are no online options on this.
That is correct. And the town's clerks, they have to get them at the town clerk's office, and I don't believe there's any closures between now and the 3rd. Sometimes they have closures because they're getting ready for primaries and whatnot, but
Yeah. Okie dokie. We should try to see if we can get another physician to, I'm hoping that Dr. Pope might know some people that he thinks would be interested.
yeah, it's just unique times, it's just, I'm shocked. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
Okay, is there anything else for part 3, old business, Chris, that we need to address?
Nothing at this time.
Fantastic. And then next month, would it be possible to email me the link just so that I at least have the link and I can copy and paste it and get in versus having to put every single.
It would be a direct email from Donna. to
Okay.
you, and
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okie dokie. I understand trying to keep it, do you know what I'm saying, from being so easy to get into online. Do you know what I'm saying? I certainly understand that, but
I think what might help is, so we got the email, but we got it on January 10th, so you have to like kind of search for it. So maybe if it's possible to send it out that day, that way it's right at the top of our email.
Well, no. I've got I went through all of the emails and I ended up going online to try to find it. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think I could open it from the email that I got.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah, I must have lucked out then.
Okay, because I was, believe me, I was working on it for about 15 minutes before the meeting. But I got in by the hair of my chinny chin there. But anyway, nevertheless, could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I move to adjourn.
And I second that motion. Meeting adjourned at 4:45 p.m. Everybody take care, and hopefully we can figure out get somebody lined up to run, because that would be a sad thing to not have somebody running. Okie dokie.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.